Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is note 6.3 on special right triangles, 45, 45, 90, and 30, 60, 90 triangles. Your objectives: you'll be able to find the side lengths of special right triangles given three angles and a triangle and a side length. Now, we're going to learn about these two special right triangles today, called the 30, 60, 90 right triangle and the 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. As you can see them right here, below here. So the 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle means that there's 45 degrees in one angle, and another angle also has 45 degrees, and the third angle is a 90 degree angle. So 45, 45, 90. And same goes if with 30, 60, 90. That's just the relationship of the angles. One angle is 30 degrees, another angle is 60 degrees, and the other angle is 90 degrees. Now we're going to start with the 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. This triangle has a nice relationship with all its sides. Since both non-right angles are 45 degrees here and here, we have an isosceles right triangle. This means two out of the three side lengths are equal to each other. So if this side length is 5 feet, that means this length is 5 feet. So from here to there is 5 feet, so that means from here up to there is 5 feet. Look at this triangle. Can you figure out what the value of x is? I bet you can, because you notice that 45, 45, this side length is 30 feet, that means this side length is 30 feet. On this one, if top to bottom is 75 feet, then you know the length of this side. The bottom is also 75 feet. Same goes with radicals. If this side length was radical 15 feet or square root of 15 feet, that means this value of x is also the square root of 15. Now, there's also a relationship between the sides and the hypotenuse in the 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. Whereas the hypotenuse, this hypotenuse length, is always going to be a little bit longer than the side lengths. If the side length is x, the hypotenuse is x times square root of 2. So no matter what the value is on this side length, to find the hypotenuse, all you got to do is take that side length and you multiply it by square root of 2. So let's say the side length on the bottom here was 5, or even over here, it was 5. So the x value is 5. To find the hypotenuse, we just take our 5 and we multiply it by square root of 2. So our answer of the hypotenuse is 5 square root 2. That would be the length of the hypotenuse. So you just multiply the side times square root of 2 to find the hypotenuse. Alright, let's make it look a little bit more like a problem here. We could also do the reverse. Let's say that you're given the hypotenuse, x square root 2. And you know you're given that this hypotenuse is a value of 10. So that means the value of 10, to find the side length, we have to divide by square root of 2, because that's the inverse operation of multiplying. And 10 divided by square root of 2, well, we can't have a radical in the bottom. So you have to take some steps to get rid of it. So to do that, you multiply both the top and the bottom by square root of 2. So you have 10 square root 2 on top. And then 2 square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. And that's how we get this here on the bottom. 10 square root of 2 divided by 2. And then we can simplify that further, because 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we have 5 square root 2 over 1. And that's the side length on it there on the bottom. So unfortunately we cannot have radicals on the denominator of a fraction. So we're going to keep practicing that a little bit more, a couple of times in the next couple of problems here. So here's problem 1. And here's the answer to it. So I'll walk you through it. So to find the lengths of A and B, these two side lengths, when we're given the hypotenuse, what we need to do, we have to take that hypotenuse and we divide by square root of 2. So we have 9 divided by square root of 2. Now we can't have a square root of 2 on the bottom, so we got to multiply both the bottom and the top by square root of 2. So we have 9 times square root of 2 and square root of 2 times square root of 2. 9 times square root of 2 is just 9 square root of 2. And square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. So our answer there, our side lengths are both 9 square root of 2 over 2. Or 4.5 times square root of 2. Alright. This is problem number 2. If you want to try it on your own first, you can hit the pause button. I'm going to move forward here. So here's the answer. So in this problem, we got to find both x and y. And we're given the radical 10 radical 6 divided by 3. That is the length of our hypotenuse. So we're given a hypotenuse and we got to find the side lengths. To do this, we take our radical and we divide it by square root of 2. Now, what's nice is that when we divide by square root of 2, we could just put it in the denominator. So we do 3 times square root of 2. Now, square root of 2 divided by square root of 6, like you practiced in Algebra 1. You know, the numbers on the inside, we just divide them. 6 divided by 2 gets you 3, so that's why we have a square root of 3. And 10 divided by 3, well, doesn't come out to a nice pretty integer, so we're going to leave it as a fraction. So our answer is going to be 10 times radical 3 over 3. Here's problem number 3. If you want to try that on your own, here's the answer to it. Now, we're given a side length here. And we got to find the other side length and the hypotenuse. Well, when you're given a side length, I think it's a little bit easier. We know the other side length is just the same length in a 45-45. So we know y is equal to 3 by definition of isosceles triangles. To find the hypotenuse, you just take that side length and you multiply it by square root of 2. So 3 times square root of 2 is 3 square root of 2. Here's problem number 4 if you want to try that on your own. Here's your answer and I'll walk you through it. So you give it a side length, to find the other side length, you know it's just the same thing. Then a 45-45 90-degree triangle. And then to go from the side length to the hypotenuse, you multiply by square root of 2. So 3 square root of 2 times square root of 2 will get us our answer for the hypotenuse. Now square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. So 2 times 3 gets you 6. And that's how you do problem number 4. Here's problem number 5 if you want to try that on your own. Here's the answer. We know that A and B, well, they're not equal to each other in this one. I'm sorry, B and 5. Those two are the two legs, so B equals 5. To get to the hypotenuse, all you gotta do is take that side length and you multiply it by square root of 2. So 5 radical 2 is your answer for A. Next up, 30, 60, 90-degree triangles. So here's the relationship here. When we're given, well, the triangle has 3 side lengths. So you know you have the smallest side length, which in this case is x. How we label it, because it's across from a 30-degree angle. So that's how I know it's the smallest, because it's across the opposite side of the smallest angle is the smallest side. The one in the middle side, is always going to be across from the 60-degree angle. And that's going to take your small guy times your radical 3. And that's how you can find your medium side. And then the biggest side is your hypotenuse, which is always farthest away from the 90-degree angle. And to find the hypotenuse, you just take your small and you double it. You double the size of the small guy to find the hypotenuse, which is just 2x, and that's why we label it 2x. So if this small side was 5 feet, we know the hypotenuse is then 10 feet. If you're given that the small side is 5 feet, and you need to find the medium side, you just take that 5 feet and you do 5 times radical 3, and you get the medium side, 5 radical 3. And vice versa too now. If you're given that the hypotenuse is 100 feet long, that from here to here is 100 feet long, to get the small side, you just take that 100 and you divide it by 2, which means this will be then 50 feet. And once you get the small one, 50 feet, then you just multiply by square root of 3, and you get 50 radical 3. So let's do a couple examples here, so it's a little bit easier to see. So you have a hypotenuse of 2 times radical 3, and you need to find a 30-degree angle and a 60-degree angle, or sorry, the appropriate sides that go with them. I'm first going to find the small side going from the hypotenuse because it's easier. So you're going to take your hypotenuse and you're going to divide it by 2. So 2 radical 3 divided by 2. Well, the 2's cancel out because 2 times 3, or sorry, times 2 and divided by 2 are opposites of one another, so they're going to cancel out. So the value of n, aka the smallest side in the triangle, is just radical 3. Now to go from the small side to the medium side, you multiply by radical 3. So radical 3 times radical 3, that gets you the value of 3. So in this case, this example, m equals 3, or the medium side is 3, a length of 3. All right, let's do number 7. In number 7 here, we're given the medium side is 6. We need to find the small side and the hypotenuse. So this is the medium, and why do I know it's the medium? Because it's across from the 60 degrees. Since it's across from the 60 degrees, that's my medium side length in our triangle. So to go from the medium to the small, we have to divide by radical 3. So 6 divided by radical 3, well, we know we can't have a square root 3 in the denominator. So we got to multiply both the top and the bottom by radical 3. So top is 6 radical 3, and radical 3 times radical 3 is just 3. So you have 6 radical 3 divided by 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So you have 2 radical 3, and that's going to be our small side, 2 radical 3. Now to go from our small to our hypotenuse, we just have to double it. So 2 radical 3 times 2, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 4 radical 3. So 2 apples times 2, well, 2 apples times 2 gets you 4 apples. That's why we have 4 apples as an answer. Hopefully that clears it up a little bit because I know the radicals are tricky. Alright, let's try another problem here. In this problem, we're given a hypotenuse, and we got to find the medium side and the small side. So to go from the hypotenuse down to the small, we have to divide by 2. So 4 radical 3 divided by 2 gets you 2 radical 3. So that's our small side. Now to go from the small side to the medium side, we do 2 radical 3 times radical 3. Well, radical 3 times radical 3 is just 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So the medium side is 6. That's how we do problem number 8. Problem number 9. You're given a small leg, and I know it's a small leg because it's across from the 30-degree angle. So across from the 30-degree angle is always your small leg. So my small leg is 2 radical 5. To go from the small leg to the hypotenuse, to find that hypotenuse, we just have to double it. So 2 radical 5 times 2 gets you 4 radical 5. So the hypotenuse is 4 radical 5. To find the medium piece, so going from the small piece, all you got to do is multiply the small piece by radical 3. So the small piece of 2 radical 5 times radical 3. Well, radical 5 times radical 3 gets you radical 15. 2 that's on the outside, you leave it on the outside. And if there's multiple numbers on the inside, you can multiply them. So 5 times 3 gets you 15. So your answer here for number 9 is 2 radical 15. Last problem. So you're given an hypotenuse of 9. Now going from the hypotenuse down to a side, or the smallest side, which would be y in this case, you divide by 2. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. Now since it comes out as a decimal, some people like decimals, some people don't. So, and our answer keys with multiple choice, they like fractions. So we're going to leave it as 9 over 2. So we're going to take that 9 over 2 and we multiply it by square root of 3 to find the medium side. So 4.5 times radical 3 is 4.5 radical 3, or 4 over 2. When you multiply by radical 3, you just put it on top. So you have 9 radical 3 divided by 2. And that's our answer. Alright, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Be happy to answer those questions via email. If you want to come to Extra Help, come to Extra Help. I'll be happy to help you there too. Alright, have yourself a good night.